Yay! And looking good. Hello! Let's get all set up, shall we? Shaboom! Look, I even made a whole presentation for us because I'm that silly. We'll get some music going. I'm going to check in with you guys on my other laptop. Say hello if you're in the chat right now. Let me know where you're coming from. I heard somebody coming in from Australia was going to write in. If you're in the US, Germany, I'm very curious. But thank you all for joining me right now. Looks like we got like 20 people watching already. Hello from Pennsylvania. Oh, amazing. Hello everyone. Yay. Yes. Illinois. Hello. I'm currently in Oregon. My family's home here in Lake Oswego. We got New York, Pennsylvania. Yes. Hello everyone. Welcome to the DEFY making of live stream listening party extravaganza. I've got the pipes here, even though I won't be playing them too much. I've got a whole presentation. I'll be taking your questions throughout as well. So we'll have a good time. Amazing. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Alright, I think we can dim this down. Because I want to be able to start talking to you guys too. Hello, I'm Stevie J. Those of you guys tuning in, I hope you would know me if you're watching my live stream right now. But I wanted to dive deep into how I made this song, and then at the end, I'll be able to like showcase a little bit of the actual video with me playing live and answer any of your questions. Generally, whether it's about me, the song, the instrument I play, the build. Video making in general, but let's dive right in with the first two halves of this. Is I want to split up with like the actual music producing of it, and then the actual video production of it. And it's kind of a funny backstory in that this song has been in the process for about 2 years, even longer if you think about like when I got first inspired. From France as well, Argentina. Wow, you guys are all over the world. So, if you haven't listened to my new song, DEFY, I encourage you to check it out after this. It's streaming on all platforms. But to give you behind the scenes of like how it came to be, because I don't write too many original songs, and that's where I thought it was kind of special to be able to share this and make a fun big deal out of this. The inspiration for me, I'm curious if any of you have heard of them before. They're based in Dusseldorf. They're called Grand Brothers, and they have a piece called Newton's Cradle that I thought was so fascinating. It combines piano and electronic music making sounds, a lot of which are produced live with actual like connectors to the instrument. So after this, you should go check out Newton's Cradle by Grand Brothers. And hearing that kind of blend of piano, like I grew up playing with like some percussion-y sounds, it got me thinking as well about Isaac Newton, and how I like the idea of cool sciencey things that defy the ability of science. So I was heavily inspired as well by the idea of non-Newtonian fluid. If you've ever seen those kind of slow-mo videos of this kind of liquid goo that's bouncing in a speaker, and that's also where the name DEFY came from. And so the actual first time this kind of all started to synthesize was back in 2018. So this song has been over 2 years in the making. And I created this little piano jam, which if anyone has been following for a while, I shared this back in February of 2018 on my Instagram. Oh, and I changed the channel. Clearly a live stream noob. I'm sorry, guys. But you can tell it's the song. I used the basic of this song was actually originally for piano. So actually transcribing this into the RimbaTubes was kind of difficult. So I went on a songwriting retreat in September of 2018, also a couple years ago now, and I created a new kind of representation of what the song could be on the RimbaTubes. But it still wasn't quite there yet. And I pulled this all together because I had this awesome live show where I was playing at my friend's art space, and I got to debut a bunch of the new original things, including this song in its raw, pure form. And I thought that was kind of interesting because I don't usually get like fired up to finish something unless I have a due date. So something like creating a weekly video or having a live performance where I have to pull together something and do the show. I was able to create this song in kind of a demo version that was able to be produced live. And from that point on, I was like, this has to be a real song. I want to get this released on Spotify, Apple Music, and have a real music video for it. So, in May of last year, about literally a year ago, I think to like next week, my friend Cody McCracken came down from Washington, and we set up my playroom, which you can kind of see in here is redone with all these carpets and speakers and fancy things, so we could produce this song and a couple other tracks and get it all finished out. And so this was Cody and his girlfriend Kenny and me just celebrating us all being together to make this. And our recording process was quite interesting in that we were getting very unconventional with how we could make this sound the best possible. So we were trying with one of his sound buffer speaker like cushions above the instruments, because what's tricky about this instrument is that the acoustics are bouncing all over whatever room I'm in, and so sound deadening with all these panels and even these towels on the instrument were to help make the instruments a lot more pure and not as echoey in as small of a room as my playroom is. And we really went all out with the amount of tracks we could use, and I kind of almost retrospectively was kind of inspired by Jacob Collier in the way that there was just all these different tracks laid out to be able to hit up the RimbaTubes keyboard, melodica, accordion. We used two electronic sounds. We used a bass for the electronic bass and some electronic strings, if you've heard the whole arrangement. But we got really kooky, and I love it, with all the percussion elements. We had boom whackers, you can see over there. In the realm of the found object sounds like the Graham Brothers were using, I was using a shower door as the snare, as well as drumming on the side of a piano to get that like warm tom drum sound quality. We also used shakers, tambourine, a rain stick that I made at the beginning, and it has some atmospheric sounds, like there's ocean waves at the beginning, there's some very subtle car sounds driving by at points, and there's an inclusion of some voice, which I want to play for you. We borrowed my friend Bethany's accordion for this whole production because I left mine in LA at the time. I'm all spread out right now, guys. I don't know if you realize, because I just drove to New York to like live there, but then COVID-19 happened, that like a third of my stuff is in LA in storage, a third of my stuff is on the East Coast in storage because I had to move out to be safe and be with my family at this time, and a third of my stuff is here. So I don't even know, I think my accordion is now on the East Coast, but it's really funny how everything is just in disarray at the moment. I love this clip. This really kind of is a synthesis of our creative process in this like 3-day weekend we had together, where I really wanted this like fast-pacing accordion sound at the verse 2 break, I guess you could call it. I don't really have the sections names for these, but check this out. I had Cody pump it while I held down the chords so we could achieve the sound and the thing all together. Yeah. And if you listen in the actual song, we kept that part of the recording in. It was me saying, yeah, and laughing, and there's a couple, I think, other little moments like that sprinkled throughout. The sad thing is, after all this wonderful sound recording and mixing, we went our separate ways for him to start mixing, and his computer crashed. And so, sadly, I think we were trying to record 4 songs. We finished like 3 of them One of which was like Experience of Sound, an older one. The other one was Burning Light, one of my other newer songs you can find on Bandcamp. But then DEFY was like the one I was really excited to like finish and pull together, and we just scrapped out just a little bit of what we could save because his computer died and we could barely salvage much, and it's very tragic. But with that, I wonder if you guys have any questions in terms of how we put this all together, and I'm now looking at your guys. I've been focused on the presentations, and I haven't actually looked at your chat messages for a second. I remember me stagehanded. Hello, Madeline, Moisture Festival, amazing. Oh, I'm glad somebody liked Megalovania. I'm the OG, thanks. Yeah, non-Newtonian fluid is very cool, Kate. Hello from Russia, yes. Thank you all. Link to donate, thank you. You could donate on my Bandcamp. The song is downloadable as pay what you can. So if you want to chip in some dollars to my work, then by all means, donate through Bandcamp. And I guess, Seth, I can't exactly respond in the chat if I'm also talking, so I can respond afterwards. If there's any questions I miss, I'll make sure I get past that. But in terms of the music process, we'll get into the video as well. Oh, favorite and least favorite part of this? That's a great question. I think in terms of actual recording, my favorite moments were the like pulling together the sounds. So like that accordion clip where like we're actually playing and creating the thing, the like energy and creative juice was like flowing at that point. So I thought that was really fun and special. Least favorite part was probably trying to figure out the timing of how to pull this all together. I would have loved to have released this like a year and a half ago, but I'm also showing this all because I want to show you guys the process of how it is time consuming to be able to produce even a single track or a single video, let alone a brand new single with a crazy cross-country video. So I think the least favorite part is the amount of time it took, but my favorite obviously was the creating of it, which is why I do what I do and why I love what I do. Yes, I can do the pipes. So this actual track starts off with these arpeggios because I wanted to be able to kind of play this live, but I knew that I also like wanted to fill out the sound. So be able to play something that kind of feels more than just like the two notes playing. It feels more like a chord. In this case, C sharp minor 7 chord. Then I can make it come to life more. But the tricky thing was also, I wrote this song on piano, as you guys heard earlier, that being able to transpose this to RimbaTubes is a little tricky in that I needed to find that like arrangement where it could still sound full and still sound like that kind of fun, bouncy piano vibe I was creating. Joe, thanks for tuning in. How long did it take to produce the final track? Quite a while, in terms of we actually recorded this over the 3 days with a couple of the other songs. He took some time to mix it. I went and visited him one time. And then what we salvaged, I took an extra couple days to finish out with the extra percussion sounds. And then I used things like Lander to finalize the master of it to share on all the platforms, because you kind of need to have a certain level of sound to be able to match other songs that are released on those platforms. So yeah, so I guess we can keep going. Yay, and Cody's in the house. Cody, say hello. He's the Phil McCracken product. He's the one that was a part of this. So thank you again, Cody, for making this magic. That's amazing. And let's see. I think I want to push forth because I don't want this to be too long. But Keith, oh yeah, how long did it take to understand these pipes? I grew up playing the piano, so that actually was my background to be able to get my musical understanding. And then when I saw like Blue Man Group in high school, I was doing some marimbas in elementary school, then I started to pursue this more and created my own way of teaching myself in terms of just like learning new songs, and that was the way I practiced, was just trying new stuff out and getting better by playing trickier and trickier stuff. So you can see my later stuff like the Vivaldi video or Megalovania. The last video I did was the Wolfpack song, Deantown. Like, those are some really intricate parts that I would never have thought to play unless I was challenged with that to be able to play on this instrument. So if any of you are musicians yourselves, I encourage you, practice by finding things you enjoy and just pushing your abilities in that kind of a way. But let's get back to the presentation. So the second half of this, we just talked about the music, now we're going to talk about the video making. And this is kind of quicker because essentially I was in the process of moving to New York because I just felt the impulse and wanted a new change of pace and not live in my car anymore. So the day before I left in December of this past year, 2019, I got inspired to be like, oh my god, I should do something while I'm driving across the country because I'm going to have the RimbaTubes with me. In fact, I packed my car so that I could get the RimbaTubes and the KaleidoTubes in there. It was pretty much just that. You can see that I have like 2 suitcases for some other instruments and my clothes, and then just like leftover junk from my LA apartment that I stuffed in my car and just started driving across the country. But the day before, I got inspired to make a video. So I, last second, was like, this is the song, this is what I'm going to do. And I started by going to Santa Monica, where I used to street perform, 3rd Street Promenade, and ended up going to 12 different states, which went from California all the way to New York, skipping a couple like Alabama, Mississippi, and Maryland. Although I got my new melodica in Maryland, which I left in LA, sadly. But the goal was to really kind of document this wonderful adventure across the country by hitting up all these fun locations. So literally, some people have already asked me if I've green screened myself into these places, and no, I drove across the country and pulled my RimbaTubes out every single time to get a clip of me playing in all these different places. And literally, it was me just popping up in like the randomest places and just playing by myself, just with a beautiful, beautiful environment around me. And that, I lucked out. It was that point, it was January of this year, and it was gorgeous, even in New York. The first day I got there, it was sunshine, and beautiful, people were out, it was like sports and all these things. You would never have guessed that COVID was about to hit like a month later, 2 months later. But it was pretty funny, just to be able to like find a spot like on my drive and be like, oh, this would be a cool place to pop up and just shoot a quick pop-up video. And I'm really grateful because I drove the first half by myself to Texas, and then my dad drove with me for the second half. So we ended up benefiting in that way where I could kind of pull out, like here in New York, I could just roll out the instrument while he went and parked and start recording in that way, which I thought was hilarious because then that was probably the most people walking by at that time. So we have things like that clip of the gentleman saying, how long have you been in New York? And I'm like, 20 minutes, I just showed up. And he was like, really? That's awesome. So the actual video making of it is not that glamorous. I was literally just pulling the instrument out and playing the track with my iPhone, playing the song in the background, and just trying to hit up each section. And every place I went that night at the hotel, I would just like pull out my favorite clips, stitch it into the video, and that's pretty much what you ended up seeing. I just spent the past couple months doing the waiting on the music and just making sure that that all finalized so I could get it officially released and then share with you the awesome video that I made. So in terms of that, are there any other like questions in terms of video? I wanted to show you actually 2 like kind of specific behind the scenes things. I thought this was pretty clever. The album artwork I used was actually created based on that first image of the RimbaTubes out in 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica, California. What I did is I added this kind of comic book effect that really contrasted and highlighted the colors and the kind of the shapes of everything. And then I added a kaleidoscope. And it just created this cool, I don't know, I'm just a fan of fractals and cool visuals in that way. And so I kind of started messing around with layering things and adding the titles, and then I think I ended up with that one was the final piece. So you can see kind of just the layers that went into just the album artwork alone. And then The actual video of it, I wanted to show you how how this is all lined up. We've got all the different locations landed out. This is the hardest part to shoot and video, not shoot, but edit, was this section where I'm doing the whole driving and playing the piano and some overlays. I didn't know what I was going to do there because it was the one city that I didn't actually have a designated time slot for. I just wanted to show a time lapse. Everything else just fell right into place because it's I'm clearly in Arizona. I'm clearly at Meow Wolf in Santa Fe, which, let me know if you guys have been there before. I thought that place was super cool. All their instruments with the glowy pipes. They had a piano that you could hold down and do some weird ricochet sounds. But I really wanted to show you, if anyone's a video tech nerd out there, is how I do this split screen effect, because I use this all the time in all my videos, and I don't think I've ever really shown how I do this before. So some fun new information for y'all. Basically, if you've ever been curious to do this effect, what you do is you create multiple angles for each of the things you want to do, but keeping it all within the same camera frame. So for instance, right now, I would shoot this part, talking right here, and then I would run over here and then pretend like I was talking to myself, or whatever the circumstance is. And then what I do is I layer over the other one by drawing out the frame, and then I feather it out, in this case, to be able to mask it. And so it looks like it's all happening at the same time because I've laid the tracks on top of each other. You can kind of see right there. Lined it up with the music below. And then I just stitch the piece over based on what the thing is. And this is a very subtle moment, but I also, this moment here, I walked across the frame, intentionally walked across the frame, but I basically had to stitch out every single finger of mine here so that it actually looked like the melodica was crossing over my other self right here, which I think is worth it because it's a cool effect and it comes across like I'm in the same frame as myself. So those are fun little techniques I use in my videos all the time, but one I wanted to highlight that I threw in for this guy here. So yeah, any other questions in terms of the actual video or the music making? Because then I want to play the song for you all to kind of wrap this up with the music video and RimbaTubes, because I have my organ set right here right now. But thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm seeing y'all from all over the place. Russia, Germany, we got a German, yay! Ich liebe Deutschland. I studied there for a good 4 months. Then there's Keith. Oh, yeah, your high school's assembly? I'd be honored if I could get over there. It's pretty fun whenever I can pop up in different circumstances, whether it's these crazy corporate events across the world in India or Sri Lanka. Collaborated with some friends over there this past winter, or local schools, done libraries and different centers. It's just it's hard with the coronavirus right now. I am dying to get out there and perform. I don't know if there's any other musician performers in the video right now, but that's the difficulty for me and why I'm really trying to stay strong with staying indoors, even though the message of this piece is to get out and follow your bliss, in a way, of going on your own adventure of where you want to go next, and defy the norm. But right now we have to defy the norm by staying indoors and staying safe so that the world can survive and be in a better place after this. So listen to this, but also don't follow that advice. Oh, cool, Salvatore, thank you. You're just talking about my video and now you're tuning into my live stream? That's awesome. In Arizona, you looked at birds. Were they fake? No, that was just a happen good time. And it's very funny because in that moment, I was kind of figuring out what I was doing right then and there. Let's see if I can find that clip. Yeah, let me show you all. So right before this moment, I was kind of resetting for myself. And so I'm kind of just lightly playing, and I had to cut it so you could just barely see when the birds were starting to come in. But you can see I react. I'm like, what? What's going on? And then I'm like, yeah, real birds. So it's pretty cool. Everything you see in this video is 100% real. Even the split screen, it's that is real and me real, and I just stitched those together. No green screens. It's me in every single place, and I've got all the footage here to show of it. In fact, here, let me show you guys. I was actually, pulling the instrument. Me trying to figure out how to pull it off screen so I can get back to my car. Literally just my grandfather's backyard. I was just pulling it up, and he had a beautiful, beautiful view of the desert. Hello from Florida, Seattle. What camera do I use? I have a Canon Rebel T6i. It's my first DSLR, and it has been very versatile in that it's got that zoom adjusting lens. And Canon is a brand I've always enjoyed and appreciated, but I know a lot of people have good luck with Sony and some like the smaller kind of compact cameras that aren't the DSLR, but I forget what that one's called. But that's what I use. I've had good luck with it since 2018, so I like it. And video editing I use is Final Cut Pro 10. It's also as versatile. I started out using like iMovie, so having this kind of format that's very user-friendly, similar to iMovie, but has all the functionality of a higher production type of editing software. It's been very useful for me to be able to like dig into and find all the different nuances of. Oh, Kristen, that's so sweet. Just want to let you know that you were an inspiration to my autistic son. That's wonderful to hear. Yeah, I appreciate hearing from you guys, because there's just this like literally fake wall where I've got my phone set up right now to be able to communicate with you all, but it's one thing to be able to read a comment like 3 hours later versus seeing you talk right now. So thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Netherlands, hello. How do I make a paddle? This is great. And then I'll maybe do the video after this so we can hear some more music, but these are inspired by the Blue Man Group design, in that it is foam, corrugated plastic, and then a rod with foam and tape in the handle. This has evolved over the years with my design, and not similar to Blue Man's as much anymore, but you can actually see on my Instagram profile, the very first story highlight is a whole behind the scenes of, just kind of like went through and cleaned out my playroom, and I found a bunch of little paddles and kind of documented the history of it. So if you really want to see some other examples of how my paddles evolved over the years, you're welcome to. But it's essentially, this small paddle head with the foam, so you can get a nice airy sound out of it, but then it's got the rigidity and strength, so I can do. I can get really loud and like wacky with it. Literally wacky. That's pretty funny. I've never thought about that before. I play Sandstorm. I'm trying not to do any copyright material on this live stream, because it's my first live stream in a long time and I don't want to mess anything up. But you can go check out the video for the full rendition of Sandstorm. Does Isla still have the light up paddles? We were just talking about this again the other day. I think she's lost them. She went back home to like work with them, and unfortunately they disappeared. So she's offering to build me a new pair once we're out of our isolation. But I thought that was pretty funny how we worked a while on trying to making those, and then they just disappeared. With I think she was moving around from one office to another. But yeah, let's do some music, guys. Oh, that's another. Zyla and I, we created a video together last July, and I think it's finally about to get released. So 10 months later, we're finally going to get that out there, which I'm very excited about. It's a very popular meme song that we've been requesting for a long time, and excited to see what you all think of that. So get excited. Oh, thanks, Jaden. Make your days better. Yeah. Anna Lee 246. Yes, I do know the Blue Man Group. In terms of, I was inspired by them, but I also now know them because I've worked with them a few times. In terms of, we did a whole collaboration where I went to New York and played PVC4 with them, and I also hosted their, their opening night premiere in September in LA. They had a cool new touring show that they debuted, and I got to be on the blue carpet with Zyla, and we did a whole spiel of interviewing their team and getting excited for the show. So go check that out. It's on their Facebook, and the collaboration otherwise is on their YouTube and mine as well. And yeah, so let's dive right in. I wanted to show you a special rendition of this song, in that I'm gonna just kind of improvise on top of what I was playing in the video, and I hope you enjoy it. And then go check out the song, and it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music. If you enjoy it, go share it with your friends. I write my music with the mindset of like in transit, so whether that's literally driving in your car or if you're going out for a jog, I feel like my music's best in motion because I just see everything happening with the momentum. And thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any other questions, I'll be sure to answer any of them that I missed. So thank you so much. This is also a special little thing. I shot this in Dallas at my friend's place. They had this gorgeous piano set up, so I couldn't resist playing the piano. Yeah, I love it. And thank you all for watching! Yay! This is a real special treat for me to be able to dive deep into this, show you guys more of the process of how I did this. If I missed any of your questions, please let me know, and I'm happy to try to answer them after the fact. Otherwise, stay tuned. I hope to have a new video out for you this Tuesday. Speaking of special effects, it's got a lot of special effects, and I hope to have it done, but I definitely have more content coming out for you this month. So get excited. Thank you all so much again for watching. This has been the DEFY live stream. Check back in. Yeah, and I probably won't be playing this song live too often just because it is such an orchestrated piece that it's kind of hard to be able to fill out live. So thank you guys. It's a very special treat to be able to perform this. Wonderful! Yes, and if you have any other questions, let me know. I'm J. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and have a wonderful weekend from wherever you are in the world. Thank you.